God, we find ourselves desperate for you every day. And we are so thankful for your mercy, for your grace, for your love. God, we stand in awe of you. Help us to not take for granted the simple things of life and to celebrate and give you glory for your work in our lives and in the lives of people around us. Be with us tonight and open our hearts and our minds. Help us to focus and to each take away something, tuck something under our arms to take away from us with us tonight, and empower us by your Spirit to implement the things that you want us to take away. We pray these things in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Next week, we will have a gentleman that I know fairly well. We'll have Josh Hostler here. And Josh planted a church about 12 years ago. Before that, he pastored in LaGrange, Indiana. He started this church about 12 years ago, and they were portable for 10 years. And they have a facility now, which they're grateful for, and they've done a lot of remodeling. They're getting ready to break ground for a new sanctuary, hopefully here yet this spring. And I've asked him to speak on the subject of balancing work, worship, and family. And I know that's something that's really dear to his heart, and not coming as the expert, but coming as one to kind of lead us in our discussion and some of our thinking. So that'll be next week. The first week of April, I think April the 1st, we will not have a class. That's Monday, Thursday, and some of you may have church responsibilities or activities on that Thursday night, and so we will not have a class on April the 1st. All right. We are delighted to have Carlos Medina here tonight. Usually he is the techie that simply makes sure everything runs right, and he's going to be that tonight anyway, because he's going to have to be the presenter and also the techie. And but I first got acquainted with Carlos and Ruth, primarily Carlos, about 7 years ago when I first came to West Michigan. And I remember this young man at a meeting we had, and we were talking about the district, and he came up to me and he said, "Boy, I'd love to set up a website for you." And at that point, I was so new, I didn't know where we were headed. But anyway, since then, he has. And you can go to MCWMIN, Missionary Church West Michigan Network.org, and you can find his work. He since has set one up for us with Key Ministries. In fact, that's when you register, that's where you go to a Key Ministries one. So Carlos is not, as far as I know, academically studied these things, but just one of those kids, young men that has a gift. And when I say kids, that's not a disrespectful term. These guys are so young now compared to me that I still think of them as my kids. But anyway, Carlos just has the ability to pick this stuff up, and he can do in a matter of minutes what would take me hours to try to figure out. So anyway, he comes with a host of experience and background. And when COVID hit, and our churches all of a sudden dropped to, well, many times they were totally shut down. So how do you do this? Do you just quit, or do you find a way to get it done? And many had considered, going on YouTube or Facebook or, some kind of streaming, but it wasn't that quality. It was just kind of a, well, catch me if you can type of thing. But when COVID hit, we had to decide what we're going to do about our services. where we're going to get serious about presenting, because I often would tell pastors, you probably have it as wanting to have as many watch online as are sitting in your sanctuary. So let's do it right. Let's give them a picture rather than putting a camera clear at the back, where I think that's the pastor standing up there. I can't quite see, but yet church is saying, oh, we don't have all the money to invest in this expensive equipment. So how do we do this? Well, Carlos is really good at, as we talk about, streaming on a shoestring. So Carlos, we welcome you tonight. We look forward to your presentation. God has gifted you in these areas. And so go ahead and share with us.
Thank you, Pastor Bill. Everyone is okay to see that screen?
Y'all can see his PowerPoint, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So again, my name is Carlos Medina, as Pastor Bill was mentioned. And he kind of introduced what we're gonna talk about tonight. And COVID, you know, what everything when it started, COVID has changed the way to operate many places, churches, institutes, etc. They had to adapt to do something better or something different that we used to do before. And I remember back in November at the district conference, I say, why churches cannot adapt to this change? You know, why sometimes in the past churches were kind of like rejecting, you know, to do or to work or to deal with the internet, thinking the ways are different to do. But I think now, but let's speak about months later. I think now the church have learned to be intentional in using more the internet to reach out. I think now, like today, right now, we are using Zoom instead of meeting in person, right? I think before COVID, we will find a place to meet, to go and meet in person by person, you know, to meet. But now with the internet, using this tool, which is called Zoom, we can connect without even leave our houses. You know, like right now I'm in Kalamazoo, I know Pastor Bill is in Grand Rapids, and I know some others are in other different places. And we are just connected to our laptops or cell phones, and right there we have connection and we are connected. And we are meeting, you know. But let me tell you something. One of my times when I'm praying with God, I heard his voice through these verses right here, and I'm pretty sure he spoke to me in Spanish back then. He didn't speak in English, so I had to find the easy to read version in the Bible, so I can read it to you. Otherwise, I'd be like they, die, D, and all those words that I don't know how to say those. So I find the easy version to read, which says in Isaiah 55:6 says, "You should look for the Lord before it's too late. You should call to him now while he is near." And he also spoke to me through Isaiah 65:1, who says, "I help people who had not come to me for an advice. Those who found me were not looking for me." I spoke to a nation that does not use my name. I say, here I am, here I am. And if we put these things together, what happening with COVID and what happening with all the situation we are living now, many people are not looking for God over the internet, but they are finding God right there in the internet. They are finding God watching somebody's preach, somebody's sermon, somebody's message that now Christians are putting together and floating the social medias with these things. And people are really finding God through the social medias, through the websites, through the internet. And I think it's something like it says right here. people were not looking for God, they are finding God. And now the church, what we gonna do as a church? What we are willing to do as a church through the internet? So I mentioned this before, that I used to hear pastors that say that Facebook was not from God, or social media was not from God. It's something like we have to keep away from that. But now I see those same pastors using it, like, oh, now it's good to use because the time has changed now. Now I wanted to use that, and they are learning how to use that now because everybody is right there. Everybody just put their phones and they are able to see something right away. So we're gonna keep going in this. And first of all, if you want to maximize your internet, if you want to prepare your sermons, prepare your message, or prepare whatever you want to share to the internet better, first we need to know what is the today's need. In most churches, the majority of the people came back to church after they reopened the church. But I know there is still people that hasn't coming back to church. In fact, it happens to my church and Pullman, at the church plan that we have. We have some families before COVID, and now we have the same families, but they are not coming back to church. They are watching online. They don't feel safe to go out there yet because they're old, they're vulnerable, or whatever they're the reason that we have to respect what they think. But they are not coming back to our church, and I'm pretty sure that there is more people in different churches that they has not coming back to church because they are afraid or get sick. So they still wanted to hear from God's voice. And the question that I put together right here is what churches are doing to bring them word and keep them feel that they are still part of the church. What the churches are doing, what we are doing, what you are doing to bring them for those who doesn't want to get out of home yet. So this is why we put this class together, so we can learn many or some options that we can bring a nice and with a better quality and with a better audio for them, so they can be able to get connected into the sermon.
Hey, Carlos.
Yes.
I would venture to say that many of our churches still are only running 50% or 60% of normal. Now, there might be some a little bit higher, but there's a large percentage of people who have not yet returned to our local congregations. And so the question becomes then, how do they hear? How do you keep them connected? And they need to be fed and they need to be a part. So I just wanted to inject, I think it's a pretty good sizable number. Steve, how about?
Yes, it is.
Steve, how about your number?
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
50%.
So 50%, that means if you're running 200, that means 100 aren't there. Or if you're running 150, 75 aren't there. Jessica, how about you folks? Would you be running what percentage of people who say we're there? You're muted, Jessica.
There we go. And I lost you guys too.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know how to do that. I don't see you. Anyway, we are very blessed. We actually started out when we came back at 90%.
Okay.
But we have a lot of young families, and I don't know if that is a factor as well. So
that definitely.
And we also didn't do online streaming, and Paul was very animate that we don't, and honestly, we still don't, but we do what Carlos has showed us for our workers who are serving and working, so they get the messages. We have not, and the reason why Paul decided that is because he wanted people to long to be with the church body. Now, we did other things to connect, but we did not do online services. And when we came back for the first time, people were just so elated because they hadn't had anything, and we just encouraged them to do different things to feed themselves and whatnot. But so our approach was a little bit different. I don't know if that made a difference or not.
Yeah, young congregations,
Mm-hmm.
that will make a difference. I mean,
yeah.
they don't feel as vulnerable.
Right. True.
Yep.
True.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Yes. So right now, I'm a church planter at Pullman. We planted a Hispanic church. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm planting a church in Pullman, Michigan, where the most of the people are Hispanic in town, and I've been moving around with them, trying to get to know the people. I don't live in the community. I live like 45 minutes away from it, so I have to find a way to connect to them. So I found a way to provide them food with an organization that makes me connect to them and talk to them and pray for them, and I know they are not going to church because I don't see them every Sunday, but I know that they are watching services online. They're watching the stream online. One time I forgot to share the link to them for a group that I have, people I have met in the community, and I forgot. And then the next Sunday I forgot, and the other Sunday I forgot, because we came back to a church. We came back to a place to meet in person. So I stopped sharing those links to watch online until a couple months later, after we came back. I found a lady that was in that group that was not going to the church, and she told me, "Did you stop doing live services? Are you back at church? Or what happened to your church?" I was like, "No, we are meeting in person." And she's like, "Oh, I used to watch every Sunday your sermon, but then you stopped sending me the link, and then I wasn't able to watch anymore. So I thought you were gone or close to church." So I like, "Oh, you know what? Forgive me. I assume that we coming back to church, and everyone that who was attending church will come back to the church." So after that, every Sunday I share the link for live streaming, because I know they are not coming to church, but they are watching, and my goal is for them to get closer to God every day, right? So what we can do to get better streaming? First, we need to know, or you need to know your equipment. What do you have at church? Because sometimes when we are planning to create a live stream or create a media project to present our services or churches, the first thing we think is like, "Oh, how much that will cost me? How much do I have to add to my budget? Or something that I don't have at this time." But if you get to know your equipment, you will find out that you might have everything that you need to provide a better quality live stream. And I said this before, like as pastors, sometimes the only thing that we want to make sure it works is the microphone. As soon as we get to the pulpit, the only thing we test is the microphone. If this mic is work, to people to hear me, then everything is fine. I'm not worried about anything else. I'm not worried if the guitar player is in the stream, or I'm not worried if the drums are in the streams, or the piano are able to be here in the stream. I just want to make sure my mic is good, and that's it. But we need to get to know what kind of equipment do we have. That will help us to determine what kind of investment we have to do to improve our live streams. So nowadays there are many mixers, audio mixers, where you connect your mics and everything, that they have auxiliary outputs to connect a feed to the live stream. And I will show you a little diagram in a minute. But just get to know, if you are not techie as you people in your church that runs the sound system, just get a meeting with them, and get to know what do you have. But I'm going to tell you what do you need, so you can see what do you have and what would you need to buy after. So have you watched live services online with a very bad quality audio? Like the audio is in the very far, and the most that you think is background noise, and the kids running, or maybe the people's in the back translating the service for somebody else, and the less that you hear is the preach. Have you find some videos like that? What is the first thing you do? Like, oh, I'm tired to hear. I mean, for more that you want to hear, you hear like 2 to 3 minutes, 5 at most, and then you change the video, because your ears is gonna get tired of listening a very bad quality audio. And if
Carlos,
it has a very bad, yes.
if I could interject, the thing that I think before the things that I've listened to, before I listened to the communicator, the pastor, often what churches are doing is putting music on live that is terrible. The mix is terrible. You know, the musicians are not EQ'd. And again, we're talking about churches of hundreds of people. The music is killing them even before, and the guy could be a wonderful communicator, but it's to a point where musically you just got to shut her down.
Yes.
And that's what
and I know that
complicates.
Yeah.
I started out just doing the message. And then I had people that were online that still haven't been back in service going, we missed the music, we missed the music. So I put the music online with a lot of hesitation because the quality wasn't what I wanted it to be. But it is an art. It's just not somebody running a soundboard that can mix music when it's live on YouTube or live on Facebook Live.
Yeah, and that's a very common problem. And I know that you are a musician, right, brother Steve? You do music, music.
I have done that.
Okay, and because you have done that before, you can identify those problems. You know, you can identify that, or you can think ahead, like, oh, I don't want to do the music because I know, in fact, it's gonna sound terrible, and it's gonna be tiring to hear that music because it's gonna be overload, or it's gonna be the vocals very very loud, or the music very loud, and it won't be not a good mix to hear. So this is good because you know that, but there is many pastors that doesn't have that gift, and they think they're beautiful on the web, you know, and you put their live stream and they're like, that's the only thing you hear, you know. but we're gonna show you what kind of things that you can do to even get that better, to have better mix, you know, and in the live stream, and to be enjoyable at your ears. So before, in the years before, if you want to do a very live stream, like very good live stream, you know, like a professional live stream, you will have to buy cameras, professional cameras. You know, you will have to buy a switcher mixer that will switch all your cameras and your music and everything. Then you will have to buy a very strong computer to run all that hardware and softwares to present that online. And that you are talking about $5,000 to $10,000, you know, to be able to have that equipment to present that quality of video and audio for your streamings. But that was back then, you know. Now there are many things that we already have in our hands that we can use, and very cheap, not compared to $5,000 to $10,000, you know. And I'm gonna show you some options to do. But before that, let me tell you four essential questions that are marked right here. The first question is, what kind of sound system does the church have? You need to do this evaluation first at your church. Go to your soundboard, go to your sound guy, or whoever runs the sound system and your media camera, video system, whatever you have there, and ask, what kind of sound system does the church have? Maybe you already have a digital mixer, you know, that with a digital mixer, you can do many things now, that you have interfaces, you have audio interfaces, you have auxiliary outputs that you can control and send different kind of mix to your live stream, and you have more tools to do. You also have to ask, what kind of cameras or video interfaces does the church have? You know, some people will have some cameras and some audio interfaces that I already have that you don't have to buy. and what kind of internet is available at church. You know, there are some places where the church does not have any good connection internet. If you want to look at my videos that I do for Pullman, don't look at them, okay? Don't look this as an example, because I don't have internet at church. So I have to use my mobile data. And if I connect more than 2 or 3 cameras, it will disconnect. So I'm limited to only use one camera and just have to one audio mix from my mixer. So don't look at us as an example. But you can look some other churches like Evergreen Missionary Church. We are running this system that I'm gonna show you in a minute, and they're improving. We are improving every time, and it's looking better. So you have to check what kind of internet is available at your church, and also you need to ask what people do you want to reach using the internet, because maybe you just want to reach the people that it's not coming back to your church, or maybe you want to reach more people outside your church that you wanted to be part of the church, like your community or your towns that are nearby, you know, that where there is no church. So make sure to remember these questions and go to your sound guy or media guy and find out what do you already have. There is 2 popular platforms to do a live stream. The first one is Facebook Live, and the other one is YouTube, where you can do live stream with your phone. You don't need nothing else. You just need your phone. That's it. But if you are using Facebook Live, you're gonna be limited to only one camera. That's it. Only one camera shot, and wherever you put the camera, that's what you're gonna present. That's it. No more thing. You can connect an audio mix from your mixer and to have a very nice audio coming up to that, but that will be just limited to one camera. You can also use YouTube for live stream from your mobile device, but you need to get at least 1,000 subscribers to your channel to be able to present live on YouTube from your mobile device. You can have 10 subscribers and do YouTube live with your computer. But again, you will have to buy a camera, an audio interface, and you will have to buy a video interface to connect to your computer, and a very nice computer and a strong computer that will not frozen every time you open your live stream. So this is the 2 most popular platforms you can use. And you can also use Facebook Rooms, which works exactly like Zoom, but this is for Facebook. But before to get that, I jump a little section right here. Hang on. I want to go back to this one. I told you about the 1,000 subscribers or the 15 subscribers to use with the computer and use the live stream. You need to know, these are the options that you have. So you need to know your options, and I will give you more options in a minute. But you need to know your audience to see what kind of options you're gonna use. I like the way Zooms works. I like the way that we can connect to more people using Zooms, sharing my screen, sharing things like this, and do translator if I need it, or do more of stuff. But let me tell you something. For Pullman, for the church in Pullman that I'm planting, it did not work out. I was planning to do work with them during pandemic, and I was like, well, I had Zoom, I had to use that to them, and it didn't work. Why? There were many things. Some people doesn't like to have more apps in their phones. They seem like, oh, this is another app that I don't want to use, or I don't know how to use that, or they ask me for a login information. I don't even know my email, or many things that people will find out to be able to not use Zoom. So I had to find some other ways, and then is when I find out about Facebook rooms. What I use this with them, this works perfect with them because they don't have to download any other application in their phones. They are already using Facebook in their phones. They don't have to sign in. They don't have to do anything. The only thing that they can do to meet and have like a small group class is click to the link that I create for Facebook room, and they are in the meeting already. No sign-ups, nothing. Something similar is a WhatsApp group. You can create WhatsApp groups and you can text them at once, or you can make a phone call to them all at once, and then you can be speaking to them to the church. But there is people from your audience that would like to have more things like this. They would like to have a PowerPoint. You know, they want to be able to see the slides. They wanted to be able to see what you are presenting. So you have to know your audience to see what options you wanted to give them. So after that, you need to think as a viewer. You know, if I'm the viewer, what I want to see on a stream. What do I want to see in the stream live? First, I want to see clear who's speaking. I don't want to be a guy that is like right here and speaking. And maybe have my microphone like this, very, very far. And speaking like that, right? So you want to have somebody, also a camera that is very clear and very close to the speaker, and have the mic ready for him.
Carlos, I think
So, yes.
I saw Jessica raising her hand. Jessica, I don't know if you had a question. She's muted, or I'm muted.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Anyway, I was going to ask you this. If I heard you correct, you said that when using the platform of Facebook Live, you could only have one camera. Is that right?
Yes.
We use Facebook Live and have two cameras. Everything is in and out of a computer. The splitter basically would hold four different either cameras or whatever. And I guess I'm confused as to that response.
Yes, I wanna get to that point. Just using Facebook at itself only allows you to have one camera. If you are using a software to connect your cameras, then you can send it to Facebook and have multiple cameras to do Facebook. Okay. Yes, and I wanted to get to that point after this slide. Jessica, do you have some questions? You were raising your hand.
Yeah, I thought earlier, the YouTube and the Facebook slide, I thought you had said that Facebook Live only allowed you to do one camera angle.
Yes.
I use Facebook Live. I say the guys at our church, I'm still learning, but I gave them this stuff and said, here, let's work on this. But we have 3 or 4 cameras and we get all 4 angles through Facebook Live. Do you know why we do?
No, I did not know why. It could be something that they already like an app that they have. Like you are using just your phone.
Yeah, I'm using
connected to somebody.
We're using the iPad as this main switcher board, and then we use like, depending on who brings their phones, we use 3 or 4 phones. Is it the iPad that causes us to be able to use many angles?
And what software are you using to run your iPad? I don't think it's Facebook.
Oh,
maybe wrong.
We're running
because with
Switcher. And
yes.
When we sign in to Switcher, it asks us to sign into Facebook or YouTube. Am I right? And so we sign into Facebook Live, and we've set up a private page for us because we're not going live on our church page. We set up a private group page for our workers and people like that. But I'm able to get whoever's phone I had that Sunday, sometimes 3 to 4 camera angles.
Yes, and that was the next slide I want to mention about it, because
Okay.
using Facebook by its own, just like grabbing my phone and I had Facebook on it and stream, I can only use one device. But if you have a different software like Switcher Studio, Restream, or OBS Studio, then you can connect as many cameras you want and stream on Facebook. But you're not using Facebook as your main your main software to stream. You
No.
are connecting
Just
you are
switch.
connecting your Switcher Studios or your other softwares that
I
will
don't-
stream
I
on
only-
Facebook.
I only use Switcher. I didn't know there was anything else. So that's
Yeah,
what
no,
we-
there is more. There is more, but I prefer Switcher.
okay.
Okay, because I this is the other point I want to get on it. Well, now that you asked that, I wanted to tell you that using this, are you seeing my screen? I'm correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when you are using any of these platforms, which there are more platforms to connect to Facebook or through YouTube or some other social medias, you can connect many cameras. Like one of the different options, like using OBS Studio, like this is free to use on your computer, but you will have to buy some cameras, some audio interfaces. I mean, a video interfaces to connect to your computer, and then you can have 3, 4, 5, as many cameras you will connect to that software, and then the output is going to be on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you would like to send it. And it's a little more complicated, like this. This is a little setup to use OBS Studio. You will have to get a camera, an audio interface. Let me see right here. You will have to have a camera. You have to have an audio interface. This is your computer. You will have to have another screen to see what you are using, and maybe if your mixer is not digital, then you have to get something like this, which will convert your audio digital to connect it to your computer, and a switcher to switch your cameras. Little complicated, which is good if you are taking enough to do that. Then it's gonna be a good tool to use, But the reason I like to use Switcher Studio is because it's like this, more simple.
Yes.
You have your soundboard.
Yep.
You have a let me have this. Where is it? Well, you have here. You have your soundboard. Oops, sorry. Then you have your audio adapter right here that connects to your soundboard, to your iPad or phone. It can be a phone, but with an iPad you can have a better option. And you have a Wi-Fi router where you can connect up to 9 iPhones. You can connect up to 9 iPhones to the Switcher Studio software, and those nine iPhones you can mix it, you can blend it together or switch it there and stream on Facebook or YouTube or any other platform that you would like to use. And this will give you more angles views that you can connect to a computer, and you can have your PowerPoints connected to the same iPad, and you can share your screens, and let me show you something right here. So this way, then you can have as many iPhones, like 9 iPhones, sorry, up to 9 iPhones as a cameras, and you can stream on Facebook.
Hey, Carlos, somehow we lost,
Yes.
I lost your PowerPoint presentation. I'm back to full screen of the people's faces, which is nice. I like them, but.
I turn off the presentation.
Okay. And let me just say that I used to watch some services, and they would point to the screen where the words for the songs were, or where the PowerPoint was, but I couldn't see the screen. And so I'm guessing what's on the screen. And so, you know, with multiple cameras, you can put one on the screen, one on the speaker, or, and I'm sure Carlos will get to this, how you can you can put the PowerPoint and the screen right into the software. But go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
You know a lot more about this than I do.
No, you are very right. Using the external softwares like this one, it will allow you to present to project more angle views to the people. Let me go back to the screen. There it is. So this is why I rather use what is it, Switcher Studio than other else. Restream is similar to Switcher, but a little more complicated. You have to have a computer, you have to have some other stuff to work, but Switcher so far is the app that I have found easy to use, very handy to use. You can connect it just right one click, you know, with your iPad, and you can present everything nicer to the people you want to present. I wanted to show you an example, but for some reason my iPad is not connecting to the Wi-Fi. So, what do you need to have Switcher Studio? You will need to have an iPad or an iPhone to run the Switcher Studio app. It's better if you have an iPad, and for an iPad you can spend like $300 for a brand new iPad, $320 at most. You can spend the one that costs like $800 if you want. But with $300, you can have a nice iPad, newer iPad that you can run your switcher. And I don't know you're able to see, but you can have something like this. You can have in your left side, you can have all your views, your titles, your lower titles, your different angle cameras. You can have as many things you want. 2 views, 2-point views, you know. You can split cameras. You can have external videos, you know. You can have as many things you want right here. And with one click, it will go to your live stream. You need iPhones, at least 2 or 3 to have a different angles, you know, but you can have up to 9 iPhones. Why iPhones? Because this app only work with the iOS, with Apple devices. You can have iPad as a camera or an iPhone as a camera. You cannot add any other thing. You need a good Wi-Fi connection. This is why I'm not using it in Pullman, so don't go look at my videos at Pullman. You know, there's only one video, one shot. You will need to have an audio adapter, again, an audio adapter that will connect to your mixer and will connect to your iPad. So the audio that you're speaking or your music, it won't go from the echoing room. It will go right from your mix. So that Pastor Brother Steve were saying about having a very bad mix, you know, for the music. Sometimes the music sounds good at the service, but in the stream, it will sound terrible. It will sound terrible, over low, you know, bad. It will sound bad. So this is why you need to know what kind of equipment do you have at church. If there is a mic like this, like the one I have right now, let me make it a little bigger. If there is a mix like this, this is not digital. This is not a digital mixer, but you can have like these red buttons right here. Those are auxiliary outputs. You can run one output from here, which is those auxiliary outputs right here. You can get one cable from here and mix these all right here. They will mix the house, will mix the audio from the house. But if you, let's say you connect to auxiliary 3 or auxiliary 2, if you use these knobs right here for auxiliary 2, they will mix only for the live stream. And then you can have different mixes. You can have one mix for the house, and then you can have another mix, especially designed for the live stream.
You need the audio adapter for that, Carlos?
Yes, you need the audio adapter for that, because this mix right here is not digital. There is some mixer that they have USB outputs on the back, which they're not digital anyways, but they have that USB audio outputs that you can connect right to your iPad with a different kind of with audio adapter. But yes, you need an audio adapter to filter the audio to your iPad. If your mixer is digital, then you have more options to do. You know, I don't know what kind of mixer do you have for church, but this is what you need to get with your sound guy and find out what kind of mixer you have, or just call me, or I'll be glad to help you to set up your live stream mix for you.
So you don't need an audio adapter for digital mixer?
Sometimes not, depending the digital mixer that you have. Okay. Sometimes you can pull the audio from your USB output from your mixer, from the back of your mixer, and go right to your iPad. You know, right to your iPad.
So what you are saying is that if they do not have a digital mixer, they still can mix the output to Facebook.
If they're not digital mix, yes, you can still fix your audio for Facebook. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Yeah, there is a couple ways to do that. Mm-hmm.
Steve, did you have a question?
Yeah, you know, I love the toys. We just made an investment here in the last month. We were using one iPhone at this point, and we did have the audio adapter. Long story short, we went to 2 other cameras. We went to a OBS studio. We've cranked it up. We're getting really high marks from people that are watching online, which I'm pleased with. Here's the question. And this is what bothers me, and maybe, so I'm gonna, if this jumps ahead, I apologize. I see Jessica's statement is very, very valid as far as going online and people are saying it's easier for me to be in my pajamas drinking a cup of coffee than it is to have to go to a public building. My struggle is, how in the world can we connect people rather than just be a giver of content? In other words, one, you don't know really who's online unless they let you know, unless they're putting comments in the comment box. So there are a number of people that are watching. We have no idea, but I want to get to a point, and I'd love somebody to respond. I want to get to a point where I feel like we're doing more than just giving content. That somehow, even though it's online, we can engage people. Anybody have any thought?
Something that I do, I don't know if that will respond your question. Always like to know who's watching online, and I have my writings or my notes for who's watching, and I like to do follow-ups with them. I find out people that are watching me from India that okay, follow me from India, right? But anyways, I still have contact to them. I still like, thank you for watching, you know, thank you for watching online. We wait for you next time. What can I pray for you, you know? And I see people more locally that has been responding to those suggestions that I say, what can I pray for you? I noticed that you were watching online, you know, and people's been responding. So now they're not going to church. I haven't met them in person, but I have a connection to them through a message, you know, where we are praying, where we are sharing. And some people, they live far away from here. They don't know from this area. Some other people I have met before, You know, I had met that because that connection, because that texting, a following up text, you know, to them. And so I feel that I can connect to them through this, like this, you know.
Well,
So they're not only watching,
now,
but they are following them.
yeah, right now, if Bill Hostler comes online to watch on Facebook, somebody is responding to him as soon as he sends a, you know, on a comment box, saying, thanks, Bill, for joining us today, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a text exchange, but even after the service is over, number one, and number two, there are so many people that are nothing more than a click or nothing more than a view. And I know they're watching because they ask me, or they'll criticize, you know, sometime that week. So I know they're watching, but I just want to try to do a better job with doing more than just providing content.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Steve,
Yeah,
I
that's
think that is a very legitimate. If we could, I want us to come back to that question and maybe give Carlos an opportunity to wrap up, you know, hit a few more things on his to-do list here. And I'd like to come back to that question because that is a very legitimate. How do we stay connected with our congregation when they're not in the building? Carlos, what is the cost of Switcher?
the cost of Switcher. It is, you can pay $39 monthly. You know, without contract, without any agreement, you can just pay $39 every month, or you can save some money paying yearly. I forgot the price. I had it right here, but couldn't find it. Many words.
That's all right. Beagle's got big pockets.
But it was like, sorry.
I said Beagle's got big pockets. He can handle it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, $39 a month to try is worth it. I have the experience working with a guy. When I mentioned this, he was like, no, there's too much to do. There is a lot of things to work with it, and I don't like to mess up with this. I would like to have something better, but then we need money. Well, he tried. Now he loves it. He loves to work with it. He has like 3 or 4 iPhones now connected to the feed. We have a digital mixer that they have a digital mixer that we can route and live stream channel just for that, connected to that. So we are working with this, improving better. And every time he plays with it, every Sunday he finds things better and nicer to do, and he likes it. And I really likes it too. So let me share with you something some other point, and then we come back to the questions, because that question was very important, and maybe this other section that I want to mention that will answer some of your questions. After you have all these, you know, you can have everything, but it can stay just in your profile. And sometimes your profile does not have, or your church profile doesn't have like 100 followers or 50 followers or 200 followers, I don't know. But sharing is very important. As many times you share your video, you know, like you share from your church, you share from your profile, you share from your wife's profile, you share from brothers or sisters of church profiles, and then your video will get more out there, you know. Just using the internet as sharing things, that's very powerful. I mean, if you watch something funny on the internet, on the Facebook, it's because somebody else shared it, you know. And it started with one, and then now millions or thousands that people are sharing those posts, and you are able to see them. So what you can share word scripts, you can share sermons, testimonies, etc. You know, like I know Pastor Bill does this key ministries, the today's key, you know, podcast where he's sharing in his profiles. And I remember when it started, it was only me sharing there, you know, and Pastor Bill. But I know now that there is more people there that are engaging with this, and they're listening to this, and they're sharing, you know, they're sharing more because it's still growing more. What happened to Brother Steve? He left. So let me show you some stats. This is I wanted to Pastor Brother Steve to see this, but I don't know. Maybe he's there. Do you see Brother Steve?
I don't right now, but he may be back in.
Okay, because I want to show you something. I'm gonna keep going. I'm a part of the team that use Google Ads to reach the non-believers, and this has been over 10 years now. I started about maybe 5 years ago, helping them in the tech stuff. But let me show you some data. This is the last report from last year, 2020. This is what they wrote. They say, dear brothers and sisters in Christ, we want to share the results of the 2020 evangelism campaigns. 18 campaigns were held, and through the year, you accompanied with us with your prayers. They did Latin America with the website Forgiveness of Sin. We create a website which is called Forgiveness of Sin in Spanish, Perdón de Pecados. We create a website for the Islam, which is called Isa al-Masih, or Jesus the Messiah. We also create a website for the Hinduism with the website Fresh Year and New Beginning. And we run that campaign during the Diwali festival for the Indians. We sent 6,107,163 ads on Google last year. 116,181 people click on those links, on those ads that was sent to the websites. Are you following me? And 308 people converted to Christ just for watching those websites and clicking in those ads. And they spend approx $1,000 to run these Google campaigns during the years. Like for the Islam, there is a time where they do the Ramadan, where they have like a month where they fast and pray. So we run those to the Muslim community, where people are watching to hear who's the man of the white, you know, that they're waiting for them, you know, and we send ads that they will catch their attention about what they're living at that time, and they click on those and they receive a website where they can hear about Isa Messiah. Oh, this is the man of white that appears in your dreams, you know, it's Isa Messiah. And the same thing we do with Hinduism, and the same thing we do with Latin America, you know. And last year, only 308 people converted to Christ. And what we do with this, they are not only just a click. We have following to them. We have created a WhatsApp groups where every one of them join to those groups, and then we have discipleship with them. So there is a group of maybe, I don't know, more than 100 people, and there is like 2-3 different groups where every day we're sharing something to them. So everybody are receiving word from them, you know. Why? Because the internet is letting us to do that. We don't know them in person, but we know through these social medias, and we can share the gospel of God. We can share the new good of Jesus, and sharing is the key. What I tell you in the minute, sharing is the key. Jesus asked us to share the good news. So how are we gonna share the good news today? You know, how are we gonna share the good news today? people are out there not looking for God, but they are finding God during through the social medias and internet. So the church needs to be part of this. That's what I think. So do you have any questions?
So Carlos, go ahead, Joe.
The ads that you did you guys create the ads or did they create the ads for you?
No, we have to create the ads.
Okay.
Sorry.
We have to. This is a ministry that that's the only thing it does. You know, I'm part of it. I don't do the full job with them, but there is a couple, old retired couple who works full time in this. They're nonprofits. They're not receiving or asking for get paid for this. They don't monetize their ads. They don't do monetize the ads. Even they can do monetize their ads to receive money. They do not, and they are working. The lady, she went to a Google class to have to use Google, you know, to have to advertise on Google. So she's expert in now and how to advertise in Google, and this is why she sent the ads to it. And we have tracking of which countries are receiving those ads and from where the people are clicking and from where they are doing the prayer of salvation. And they got those feeds goes back to us and we can track them and we can do a follow-up with them. Some of them they will not reply us back because some people they will give you a fake email address, you know, or a fake telephone number, you know, in a reason to sign up, but they click on that they receive the Jesus as their savior. But some other people they give you the right names. They give you the right names, they give you the right address and the right phone numbers, and we can do a follow-up with them. So this is a full ministry that they are working at this time.
If I could just comment on Switcher, when I picked it up, I played around with it by myself a little bit just to connect the computer or the iPad and the phone and just played around with it. But when I was ready, I found me this nice young 17-year-old boy at church and said, hey, you know, do this for me. I said, here's the name of it. Here's my passwords. Here's the YouTube. Sign in, go watch the videos. And next week at church, let's try this. He went. I mean, that's what they do, right? So if you have a teenager at home, just grab one because they're willing to help, and this is techie and they like it. So, and then I also bought off of Amazon some $24 tripods with the attachment already for the iPhone. You know, that's just a good resource, but it really doesn't cost very much at all to do it and to do it well.
No, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make this work, right? And listen, my last word to tell you, it was about what you just said. I wanted to tell you, you don't need to be an internet guru, you know, to maximize the internet. There is many tools that we already have and use every day. But remember that we are one body made of many members. God gave us all different gifts and talents to use for his kingdom. Just how you said, Jessica. Yeah. Jesus asked us to pray for workers. Yeah. And these type of workers are also included in that prayer. And maybe those workers are already at your church, just sitting, waiting to do what they already know how to do. So we ended with the question, how can I share the good news of Jesus today? It's a teamwork.
And one thing nice about involving some of these young people is that we are teaching them. We are bringing them in. They need to feel a part. And boy, they love to use their gifts and this knowledge that they have. And again, if you are not an internet guru, what you do need to do is get to know Carlos's telephone number. That'll
Or
help.
Pastor Bill's, right there. Okay, Carlos, do you have more that you want to present, or? No, I'm done with my presentation. I want to
Okay.
open up for questions and
Yeah, let's take some questions now. Do some of you others have maybe that question that Steve had, as to how do we connect with those people that, I do a radio ministry. I've had a radio ministry for 26 years now, and on multiple stations across the country. So the question becomes, do I know who's responding? And the answer is no, I don't always. The response, what you're able to hear back is very small, but it gives you an indication. For example, what is it, 1 to 1,000? If you hear from one, there's 1,000 others out there, or something like that. So you can't get, I don't think you get quite the same feedback. How do some of the others handle that? Jessica, I guess you're not out there in the public yet in that sense, so you wouldn't have a feel for that.
I have mixed feelings on that, really. I struggle going online live, and I don't know. I just see what COVID did to people by staying at home, and they don't feel that they need to go to church anymore. So I understand reaching new people that have never heard the gospel. Like, I have my favorite pastors that I listen to online, and I catch their online services on my way home to drive to work and whatever, but there's just something different on Sunday mornings coming with the body. And that's what Paul and I talked about at the beginning of COVID. We're not going there. Everyone's doing it. And like I said, I can't say that's the results that we have, but they just long to be with each other. And we did other things to connect them through our private Facebook page, like delivering cookies every week. And, so we did things that connected them through, we didn't even do Zooms or anything. And they were hungry for us, and we taught them to find other ways to feed themselves. So Paul and I are not there ready to share our page yet, because we want people to come to the body. And I guess it's true when they watch us, and like I watch my pastor in California that I love, people get saved and then they get excited and they want to go to church. And I think that's another dilemma. We want people to find Jesus through our videos, get excited and come to church, not stay at home in their pajamas. And then the other question is who are we losing? Are they those people who say they're Christians, but they're okay just being at home with their coffee and not living every day to serve Jesus? So I'm not gonna lie, it's a real struggle for Paul and I, and we talk about it all the time, how we go about this. Because we want to be techie and we want to, do that like everybody else, but yet we struggle if we should. Because there's so much else out there, you know what I mean?
Can I give you the other side, a little bit of the other side?
Yeah.
Margaret and I have watched our sons more in the last year than we have in the last 20 years, 30 years that they've been in ministry.
Yeah.
That's because they stream.
Yeah.
And that has been a great joy for us, when we, weren't out or others were closed. We could sit and we watch them and we're just amazed. Wow, we're sitting here in our home, and we have ITV, Apple TV, and we're putting them up on the screen and watching them, and that's exciting for us.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Well, I've seen more services and watched more guys share the word during COVID than I maybe ever had.
Yeah, me too. But didn't we all, though? You know what I mean?
Sure.
What does that look like now, Carlos? Obviously, people are still watching and whatever, but the desperation was so high during COVID. Everyone was watching everywhere. And now are they drifting off? I don't know, because I don't have the statistics, so I can't say that. You know, I mean, I'm still watching my favorite people, but I always have. You know, do you know if the effect of that?
You know, I don't, Carlos, you can respond. I don't know how we will know that for sure. One of the things that I'm encouraged with is that the offerings, for the most part, have stayed up well.
Yeah, ours too.
Now, somehow the people have responded. Carlos, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Jessica. My batteries died from my headphones, and I lost you while you were saying the question. So if you repeat the question, I will see.
Sure. I was wondering, during COVID, Bill was saying, and we watched everyone. We had all day to sit home and watch other people's churches online. I mean, we could sit home all day Sunday and watch 6 churches. But I'm just wondering now that the desperation of being with church people, and now that it's not as much because some people aren't coming still to church, but have we noticed a difference on the online attendances? Like 6 months ago, of course, it was like 100% and everyone was getting 1,000 views, 10,000 views, but now how much less is it? Is it dramatic? Is it comparable?
Yeah, it did change. It did change, because before the churches were closed, and most of the people were trying to find the church life, you know. So there were more connection in the past that now is today. Because most of the people are back at the church, and some other people are doing other things, because now they are not stuck at home, you know. And sometimes and also I agree with what you're saying. The reason that you don't want to get to the public life, because there's many type of persons. There's person that they're gonna say, oh, I'm just gonna stay here in my pajamas and stay at home, you know. I feel comfortable because nobody's gonna push me to do things. Nobody's gonna force me to do what I don't want to do. I just want to hear the God's word, and that's it, you know. But there's some other people that would like to be at church, you know, ready and connected and serving. And there are also people that they are not going to church, but they are serving online, you know, like having their. I know people that works on Illinois, somewhere there, and they are not going to church, but they are in charge of the group cells, where they take their phones or their TVs or the computers to the small groups, and they show the service live, and also they discuss the sermon in the small group house, you know. So they're working like
I think that's different too than streaming a live service versus this conversation right now that we're having and digging into God's word as Bible study than live streaming, because you're talking and holding people accountable as well, and encouraging and discipling. So I think that's also a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I do have some people who haven't come back. We have a few people who haven't come back to church, and people who've been out on surgery, and I add them to our private group that is for our workers and our greeters that miss out on service. So we have people in. It's not like I'm not letting anybody into our group, but you know, and my family's in it and different people like that. But like I said, we just haven't ventured out there.
Yeah.
I just,
you know, can I also, you have a young congregation, which thank the Lord for that. My sons, I go to their services and I see all these kids, scores and scores of kids, and you know, I get envious, but anyway, the older population is the largest single segment of the church. Your boomers and up, I think, are the largest group. These would be the ones probably who, percentage wise, would be most affected by COVID, most affected going forward. So it'll be interesting to see. Some say, you know, COVID has changed us forever. I'm not sure it has. my guess is we'll go back to the old normal. A little tweaking, but I don't know that COVID long term is going to have a big effect on us. Now I could be surprised, but so yeah, it's one of those unknowns. What's going to happen on the line? I have noticed a significant drop online as churches have become more open.
I think we might have to start serving eggs and toast and coffee
Boy,
at church.
you get that going, Jim, and I may be there. I love all of those.
Jim, in the summertime, we do breakfast club.
Yeah.
And it starts in June, July, and August, and we set up round tables. We don't do praise and worship all summer. We do holy chatter style, like Bible study, conversation, and we do breakfast every Sunday for our people. They come for breakfast, simple sausage. We do bagels. We have the toasters, bagels, English muffins, cream cheese, sausages, yogurt, very like continental breakfast style. But they come and we set them down and they fellowship and they eat breakfast. So something to think about. You could do breakfast.
That's very innovative.
They come.
Good for you.
I used to tell people when I had a bus ministry my entire career, and some would say, well, you, in a sense, you bribe them, you give them a bottle of pop, or you give them some candy. I said, you know what? I had my dad to be a motivator to go to church.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids don't have that.
Right.
We'd have bus drivers go in and actually dress the kids to get them ready to get on the bus. Yep. So, there's two ways of looking at this. And, Jesus said, if a cup of cold water is given in his name, that won't be forgotten. What about a bottle of Pepsi or something? Right. Oh, by the way, Jessica, I see the popcorn popper in the background. Next time, if you would provide the popcorn for our meeting, I would appreciate it a lot.
We're throwing it at your screen.
Okay. All right. Let's take Carlos. Anything else you want to put in here?
No. If you have any other questions about how to use those platforms or how to connect your mixer to your stream, just let me know and I'll be glad to help you. You won't bother me. I have this for many pastors, not only here in the States, but also in Mexico and other places that are calling me to trying to find out the way to connect better audio to their live feeds. So I'd be very glad to help you in anything that you would like to.
I'm going to pass along your number to my mom.
Please. And I can go to your mom's. I can go to your mom's if you want.
She's at in Coloma, Waterville, so she's not far from you.
No, she's not far. So I can definitely go and help her for anything that she needs.
They need you.
Sure. Well, my concern is that churches do it as well as they can do it. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that particularly during these times, $39 a month to be able to provide a decent stream when you can borrow 3 or 4 cameras, iPhones, when people walk in the door on Sunday morning and say, hey, we'd like to use your iPhone for a camera, and 3 or 4 different locations. I just think it's a great investment for the kingdom.
It's a cheap investment.
I have a question.
Less than $10 per week.
Yeah. Okay, Nick, go ahead.
Do you guys offer your message online so that people could say, hey, what did Pastor Paul say? They go back and pull it up and redo it? Because I do that a lot with Bart. Like 2 weeks ago, we had a granddaughter dedicated, so we weren't at our church.
Okay.
But like Monday morning, I got to pull it up and I listened to it while I was working on Monday.
Yeah. If I save it in Facebook, so it's saved every week, so it's there. You just got to scroll through. And I have people who say, hey, I'm going out of town this week to see family. Can you add me to the group? And I see, this is where I'm really bad. I don't leave them there. I don't let them stay there. Like, I'm like, I know, just guilt me here, right? But I don't, because you cannot become dependent on this. I won't allow it. And I guess I'm mean. My husband says I'm mean. I got to be the mean one. But I'll add you for the week. Watch what you want, and I remove them because it was intended for my workers and my staff who couldn't be there. Now, if you're going on vacation for the week, I'll gladly add you. It's not like I'm not adding you, but I don't want you to get comfortable and say I'm slacking. I'm not coming to church this month because I don't want to. And that's my struggle. I don't want to make lazy disciples.
What if you
I understand. Actually, I went online to see, because I'm curious how you guys do church and how it looks and how it
I will
feels.
add you to
So
my group.
That would be great, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm technology challenged. And
Okay.
I'm like, did I not find
Yeah.
the link? But
No, you
it's
didn't.
good. I was going, great that you're
won't.
here.
And you won't. So what's your
That-
last name, Nick?
Evans, EVANS.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to.
That's
find you,
remind
then I can add you.
yeah, this remind me something I forgot to tell you about. Something that I've used for church to the people listen to the service after church. Not a video, like an audio. I can have those audio recorded, and I don't want it to not go to church because they can be able to hear it later, you know. But for my people, remember when I told you about knowing your audience? I
Mhm.
have people that works some Sundays and they have skipped church.
Yes.
So I want them to be able to listen. So what I create a let me show you right here. I create a podcast, which they call it podcast, which is free. Doesn't cost you anything to have this podcast. And what I do, I just post not the music. I just post the sermons. You know, the audios for my sermons here every Sunday, and people can be able to listen to them while they're driving to work or coming back from work or going wherever they wanted to go, and people are happy now because they can listen to their service after
We did
Sunday.
that for a while. We had a guy that could do it. That's even another more techier than I can do. Like, do you know what I mean? And he was taking it in a GarageBand, and we had an app, and he was uploading it, but then he left, and nobody wanted to do it. So we started out that way, you know. But that's a whole nother animal in itself.
Right now, you can have an app on your phone which is called Anchor.fm, and you don't have it.
Say it again.
Yeah, that FM. I'll show you here. Anchor.
F-
It's Anchor.fm.
Okay.
Yes. You go to Anchor.fm.
Heard that. Okay.
This is free. You don't have to pay anything, and this will distribute your audio to 8-9 platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, and many others. And what the nice of this app is, like, you can just open your phone, open the app, and start recording.
How does
Done.
the sound?
Close isn't well. If you have an interface, an audio interface to that, then you have a clear audio.
And then
You know, if you have
so how do I get the Anchor.fm recordings? Where do I put those?
and you're in the cloud, right in your podcast. If you don't want to edit anything, this is if you don't want to edit anything. Let's say if I just want to put the service. So I have one phone designed for podcasts. You have your Anchor FM to your phone.
Okay.
You have your audio interface connected to your vocal.
Yep.
When he's gonna start to preach, you start recording.
Yep.
When he's finished, you stop. You
Yep.
put a title. You put a picture if you want.
Okay.
Done, and then it's in your podcast.
Okay, but then my question is, how do people listen to that? Do I take that file and put it in my Facebook?
No,
How do
no.
people get it?
You can do that, but Anchor will give you a free website for your audios.
So people who want to hear Faith Family
Yes.
sermons, go to Anchor.fm, look us up, and
Yeah,
find our sermon.
and able to hear you, or they can go to Spotify
Okay,
and search for your church,
okay,
and right there you can hear everything right there. Or you can go to Apple Podcasts. Anchor, he will distribute your audios
to up to, I don't know, 7, 8 different places.
Okay,
You
I'll
know,
look into that.
they,
look into that.
they can send you to 8, 9 different places, and you don't pay anything.
Okay,
You don't pay anything. It's free to use.
okay,
Now, you want to get more techie, you want to add a introduction music, and then you have to go to GarageBand or anything like that and create it. That Bill knows how to do this now.
Yeah.
And
Barely.
it's very, very easy to use, right, Pastor?
Well, I just do what Carlos tells me to do. Though I may not understand what I'm doing. If he says do it, I do it.
Yep,
Yeah.
as long as it works.
As long as
Yeah, you can have just you can have like a template, you know, where the only thing you change is your middle audio.
Okay,
You know,
is
like
there a
your
way you
just
can go
sermons.
into anchor.fm, then we find Fast Family, and then we find the sermon, then is there a button where you can say share, so you can share it to someone's email?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, you can share.
Because for a
Mhm, you can share.
while, we were down, because we have a digital board, we put in the USB in, we were recording it.
Yes.
And I was taking those and sending out through email, but the problem with email, and I'm not very techie, is the files were too big, and I would make the files small, and then they wouldn't upload. It was just a mess, and I just got tired of trying to figure it out, so I quit doing emails. So that's good to know, because people do want, our church people want our email list, but I haven't been able to do it in several months because of techie stuff that I just don't understand.
Yeah.
So
This is the website that Anchor creates for us for free,
okay,
and you can share right here.
okay,
You can copy you can send it through email or Facebook, Twitter, or you can just copy and paste anywhere you want, and you can listen to all these platforms for free.
awesome.
Spotify, Radio
Okay,
Public, everything like this, and you just click here.
Yep.
And then you're able to listen.
Okay.
You know?
On that
So
one.
And
Yes.
I do my my radio broadcast. It's a 90-second thing that comes in 5 days a week, and I upload it, put it on Facebook, a couple different places, and people could just click on it on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, let's wrap it up. We, I want to stay true to our commitment on time, and so I'm just thank you, Carlos, for all your time and effort to put it together, and for your expertise and the gifts that God has given you that you so willingly share with the church, and we thank you for that. So, Lord, I thank you for this time. We thank you for the gifts you've given to the church, for people who understand these things. Thank you for the way that technology has been harnessed. Yes, there's a lot of evil, but wow, there's so much opportunity for good as well. So Lord, help us to use it. Help us to use it wisely, to share the gospel, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, thank you all.
Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Thank you.